let's speak with Newsham, the Senior Research Fellow, Japan Forum for Strategic Studies. Mr. Newsham, Donald Trump has proposed what he's calling a Golden Dome, a missile defense shield covering the entire United States. For a start, what would such a system actually involve in practical terms?
Well, in practical terms, it would be infinitely more complex than the Israeli Golden Dome. America is about 400 times bigger, and if you throw Canada in, that's even bigger than that. America would have to put in a lot more satellites up into space, and how many's a lot? We're talking many thousands would need to go up. You have to get the sensors, you have to get the interceptors out into outer space. We don't have them there, so you're really I wouldn't say starting from scratch, but you're starting pretty close from the beginning. America's missile defense system is not very good as it is, but this would be an effort to make it into something much tighter. And it would, as I said, it'd be a lot bigger, a lot more expensive. How they're going to finish it in 3 years, I have no idea.
Now, building a nationwide missile defense network sounds ambitious from what you're describing as well. From a technical and logistical perspective, it's something like this ever been feasible with today's technology, you think?
Well, probably not for what Mr. Trump has in mind, which is something that just locks down America completely, just perfectly. That's probably not achievable. But what you do find, and if you look back to when President Reagan was talking about the so-called Star Wars. He was told he was an idiot and he was getting his ideas from science fiction movies that he had seen. But what that did was it spurred American development, American technology, to the point where missile defense technology is much, much more advanced than it was 40 years ago. And I think Mr. Trump's sort of spurring America on, you'll see our innovation come to the fore. And I think we can get something that is a whole lot better than what we have today. It may not be exactly like it's envisioned, but we'll have much better ability to address the threats we face. And you'll notice that the announcement from the White House calls for tackling ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, cruise missiles, and basically everything that's coming our way. Currently, we have some real problems with some of those, hypersonics in particular.
Now, you've worked extensively on Pacific defense issues. Could you walk us through the scale of resources, both military and industrial, that would be required to build a system of this magnitude across the continental U.S.?
Well, it's actually not quite as bad as you would think. It requires a lot of satellites and a lot of interceptors. And it's obviously a network that ties all this together, so you can do some math pretty darn quickly to intercept missiles coming our way at the earliest stage possible. So it takes a lot of money, and it takes some manufacturing, and it takes a lot of sort of new technology or taking what we already have and making it better. But it's not really, I don't think, it's not, so you say, as complicated as it would have been to put a man on the moon when President Kennedy called for it within the decade. It's something that if America puts its mind to it, it can get it done. And it can also bring its friends into this. I wouldn't be surprised if it does that as well. But it takes the will, requires a sense of urgency that America does face a threat. And without that will, I don't think that we're going to be able to really devote the adequate financial or technological resources to it. It's a question of ultimately whether we think we're in enough danger to take care of the risk. Some people say we are, some say we're not. Mr. Trump obviously thinks we are.
Now, building it is one thing, but from a strategic standpoint, especially with rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific and continued threats from rogue states, what will be the value of this Golden Dome to U.S. military posture?
Well, one thing, when you're dealing with threats like we are, and I'm referring to the People's Republic of China, North Korea, Russia, Iran, that now have the capability to hit us. And we know what the nature of those regimes are, that the United States, and I would say any free nation, if it can help it, cannot let itself come at a disadvantage. You will find in this sort of a face-off that the more ruthless party always has the advantage. And Mr. Trump, as the president, his obligation is to defend the United States. What he's going to hear, and he already is that if he takes these steps to implement anti-missile defense, that it's going to outrage our enemies, and they're going to make it even sort of more difficult to defend because they're going to bolster and build up their missile arsenals. Well, they're already doing that. And it's simply, I think, a situation where the president cannot allow really the United States to get back-footed like this. And also, when you do have a good missile defense, it gives policymakers like the president more options. If you don't have it, then what you find is that your only option, really, if you really get threatened, is to threaten the other side with thermonuclear war. So really, it's going from either surrender or destroying the world. With missile defense, you have some better options here. But the arguments against it are the same ones that really were used when President Reagan was suggesting these things, and also right after World War II, when the idea was, well, the Russians only act like they do because they're scared of us. So if we ease up and show them we're not a threat, then they'll behave nicely. Well, that didn't work out very well. So really, this is something we've seen before. And we'll see how far it goes.
Now, lastly, Mr. Newsham, very quickly, you've worked closely with Japan's self-defense forces and have seen regional systems up close. How might allies like Japan or South Korea view this proposal? Could it reshape regional defense cooperation or burden sharing expectations?
Well, I think the Japanese in particular would like to get in it. And Japan's sort of outer space technology is actually very, very good. Their missile defense technology is good. I think there's a logical synergy here. And as I think the Japanese would feel left out if they were not invited into this coverage. South Korea, I think they would like to be in, but we have to see what happens after the election on June 3rd in South Korea and how willing a new administration is to participate. But particularly for the Japanese, I don't think they would feel any real threat, any threat at all, really, from the Americans having this, unless they didn't invite the Japanese into the network. So I would like to see that the U.S. government actually does make it possible for the Japanese and other friends to participate in this system. It's a logical thing to do.
Many thanks for your insights, Mr. Newsham. And we've been speaking to Grant Newsham, the Senior Research Fellow, Japan Forum for Strategic Studies.